It's the short run here again, back at it with some more mediocre cricket opinions. This one, what Australia should have lined up with for the ICC Champions Trophy. Um, Once again, released after the Australian have already announced their own squad because I'm both a smartass and I'm lazy. But anyway, let's see if we can do it better. Opening up the batting, I want Matt Short. Um, yeah, pretty self-explanatory, I think. There's still a bit of a void left at the ODI opening, but I do believe that even when Warner's around, he's still a better option, and he's a great fielder. His bowling will need to come in handy. You'll see why, because I've only picked four proper frontline bowlers, where some other players will have to pick up the slack, and he's one of them. Um, and yeah, he's tall, hits it hard, just a good player, but probably hasn't quite set Australia like I thought he would. But that's okay. Travis Head number two. Again, not much more to be said. Um, he can bowl a little bit as well, but his bowling probably ranks fourth in the pecking order of the bowlers that I've listed. But in saying that, still comes in handy. He's destructive. Who can forget his 2023 World Cup? Yeah, awesome. Number three, Steve Smith. Did think about this, but again, he's probably in the best white ball players we have still. Obviously, like we look at the Big Bash, what he's done the past years when he's came back there briefly, but I think batting him at three, good time to build an innings. Yep, no problems here. Number four, I've actually gone with Josh Inglis. Again, batter that can keep, so he fills two roles. I bat him at four. I do think he's maybe slightly better than Carey with the bat in the white ball format, at least very similar. Maybe I think I'd say slightly better. He goes for yeah. Again, I don't feel this will be out of the ordinary. Probably say Australia did the same thing. Five, Mitch Marsh. Again, another batting all rounder, but his bowling probably won't be called upon too much. Um, Look, I know he's out of form. But Test form isn't his bread and butter. ODI and T20s are his bread and butter. I know he had a stinker for the Perth Scorchers. He played one game, I think, and he made a golden duck. That's not. I don't really look into that. Batting at five as well against the white ball will help him because he's got a major deficiency outside off stump, but that's more of a test exploitable thing. Yeah, keen to see what he can do at five, and at six with Alex Carey. Again, 5 to 7, maybe even 4 to 7, kind of might vary depending on how well we've gone at the top. Um, Carey, excellent with the gloves. Fairly in my opinion, dropped from the ODI World Cup winning team, but I don't see why he shouldn't be in that now. He's looked to be back in form. Um, he, in my opinion, should start in the squad. And then seven is Glenn Maxwell. Now, I think he could bat as high as 4 to as low as 7, depending on the situation of the game that he comes in. I think you want to save him for about the last 10 to 15 overs in most cases, so he's a bit of a fluid player in this order. In the past, I would have called him an all-rounder, but nowadays he just doesn't bowl that much, and to be honest, maybe even Matt Short's bowling might be a bit better than his. So, but in saying that, he and Matt Short will be the ones that make that in majority substitute for the fact that we've only played 4 frontline bowlers. Yeah, so jump into that then, and then number 8, Pat Cummins, captain. I was having a think about the bowlers, whether or not we should rest them, considering they had big summers like Pat's currently carrying an ankle injury, but if the Australian team wish to pick him, then I don't see why I would disagree. They would know what he's feeling better than I would. Plus, he's missing the Sri Lanka tour already, so that gives him a bit more rest. Again, though, I think he could have rested all maybe the next 2 bowlers as well. But if they think they're fit, they're fit. Mitch Stark's an interesting one. Now, I don't like this selection of him if he's coming back off playing 2 games in Sri Lanka. I think his workload is too high for a player his age. He should be rested, but if I had my way, he would have been rested for Sri Lanka. So we could save him for this. And you might be wondering why I place such importance on the Champions Trophy. Well, true talk, I don't. I don't really care about it. Out of all the global cricketing tournaments, whether that be the World Test Championship, bilaterals, well, major bilaterals, um, ODI World Cup, T20 World Cup, in my opinion, just ranks the lowest. I don't think most cricket fans would probably agree with that. It doesn't happen on a regular basis. It's probably just done by the ICC whenever they want to inject some more money to get India to play Pakistan. But yeah, I still think that because this Australia team hasn't won it, we should be trying to win it. And by this current Australia team, I mean like the current one. They won everything, so let's just try our best to keep winning everything. And I think Stark, if he was rested for Sri Lanka, should be the option. Um, Next one here goes to Josh Hazlewood. Now, again, I do think he's our best bowler. Um, I wouldn't if I'd made this video, wasn't so lazy and made this video before the squad was announced. I actually wouldn't have had him in. I think that it's just not an ODI World Cup, but if they think he's fit, then he should play. For the same reason I said again, because his team hasn't won everything, so we may as well try to win everything. Um, we will need to bowler rotate this tournament, though. I am very confident in that. But yeah, I just think that Hazelwood should be in the squad, even with his injury concerns. And lastly, the spinner's Adam Zampa. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Our best white ball spinner. Again, no more comments here. Now the rest of the squad was interesting. I think Cooper Conley should be the backup bat in the team. With Mitch Owen providing a backup bat or pace all-rounder, whereas Conley's more a spin all-rounder backup option. The guys that these would likely replace would be either Carey or English, depending on the batting form of how they're going, and Mitch Marsh, depending on how he's going. I guess even to an extent, maybe like Matt Short, but or Smudgy. Nah, probably just like Matt Short. But yeah, I think that those should be the backup batting options. Now, the bowling options were interesting. Now, as I understand it, the Champions Trophy they only allow 15-man squads, but you can bring reserves. But I've elected just to only mention 15 here. Looking at this now, I don't know if I really agree. So first, I should say Spencer Johnson. Yep, I think he's the fourth most qualified quick for the job. Um, he's left arm is fast. He'll provide great backup. But and then the second one is Todd Murphy. Now, this is a interesting call. For some reason, I'm not sure why he hasn't figured in our one-day setup sheet. In my opinion, he's a second or third best white ball spinner behind Zampa and then maybe Ashnagar. He keeps getting overlooked there, which I don't know why. He bowls great variation. His record in the Big Bash has been great this year. When he has bowled, they've only given him limited overs of sixes for whatever reason. But yeah, in my opinion, for Pakistan, it'd be worthwhile. But in saying that, now that I think about it, you probably need cover for the three quicks considering the injury clouds that hang over their head. So whether that be picking another quick, who we'll talk about some of the unlucky players in a second, but I've still elected Todd Murphy, but I could very easily, like, honestly, I'm kind of persuading myself here, pick someone else. Now, to miss unlucky, firstly, I want to talk about Marnus. Now, Marnus is in the squad that Australia brought over. I don't think he should be. I don't think his white ball play has been that extraordinary. And to be honest, his test spot's in jeopardy. I think he'd be much better served playing Sheffield Shield. They wouldn't do that. I'm 100% confident the Australian team starts him next summer, regardless of how he goes in Sri Lanka, this and then West Indies. He could make no runs, and the Australian team probably will start him. Oh, maybe not actually. If Cam Green's back, maybe not. But that's what I'd like to see. Because when Cam Green comes back, he'll be coming back through the Shield. So will Marnus. These players need to show their batting against the good quality Shield bowlers. And I don't think his one day play is any better than Cooper Conley's. I guarantee it's worse. Actually, that's what I'm saying. I guarantee it's worse. Marcus Stoinis is probably the stiffest player to not make it. I think that his bowling is probably slightly better than Mitch Owens, but Mitch Owen has just came out of nowhere, and I just want to see what he can do given the opportunity. Stoinis, I don't know why I thought this, but I thought he'd kind of retired from everything but T20s, but I guess I'm wrong. Anyway, but he's not a bad selection at all. I think that, you can't go wrong with him. He's awesome. He's had a good Big Bash. He's always typically, besides that little slump he had, has typically stood up for Australia for a good best part of 10 years. Excellent player. Aaron Hardy, I'm a bit perplexed by this selection, why we picked him in the first place. I think that if they wanted to do someone like, again, Mitch Owen was already playing well by the time they announced the squad. I get he has been in the setup, hasn't played too badly when he has played, but I just think there would have been a better option. Ashnagar, again, can't go wrong with the selection. you could have picked him over Todd Murphy. I don't see why. He's a better bat. Probably a better fielder too. I think. Yeah, I'd say so. But yeah, he couldn't go wrong with that. Now the interesting parts, I've mentioned 4 bowlers here because I do think I would like to be resting the quicks. I know 10 over games aren't the most strenuous, but they're still 10 overs. Particularly on those I'll list all 3 like Stark, Cummins, and Hazelwood. Even Spencer Johnson was still kind of coming back from injury this year. I'd like to put Dry Roost in the unlucky again because he's injured again. But Sean Abbott, stalwart for Australia. I think, if I didn't want to pick Murphy, I think he should have been in the squad. I think regardless, now I think about it, there should have been that extra backup quick, and he should be that option considering he's a great fielder and a great bat. Will Sutherland was the other one, particularly from more of a bowling all-rounder point of view. But he's had a pretty poor big bash at the ball. Not so much the bat, but with the ball. And I think Sean Abbott would be a better option, but he is young. If you want to get experience into him, it's a good place to do it. He probably will be figuring in the Australian teams for the next 10 years in some capacity. Now for the 2 bowlers that are a bit more bowling focused, but can still both hold a stick. Nathan Ellis, he's played decently well for Australia. Had a decent big bash from but nothing that set the world alight to the point where I think he should be a must-in the squad. And the last one being Xavier Bartlett, who I would have picked, but again, a slightly poor big bash. Again, I know it's different format, but I feel one day sits in this weird point where you can pick Test players and you can pick T20 players that are in form because it's kind of a combination. It sits in the middle, and that's why I like one day cricket. But yeah, in short, I don't think Xavier Bartlett's bowled particularly well. But again, he's young. You could back him in and trust him. I don't think this would have been a bad pick at all. Like Ellis is great too. But yeah, anyway, that's it from me today. Hope you enjoyed listening to some mid takes, and hopefully we can win this meaningless tournament.